How we going, folks? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin and welcome to day number 2 of our samurai season. And today we're going to be discussing Akira Kurosawa's Throne of Blood. So I've not got the box set on me today. It's still in the house. So the poster, it will be the thumbnail. And you've seen it by now. So I'm working my way through this Akira Kurosawa box set. And this is film number 2. Throne of Blood is an adaptation of Macbeth and is one of the highest regarded Shakespeare adaptation films, even though it doesn't have a single line of dialogue by William Shakespeare. But the story is pretty faithful, and it goes to show what a great story is, because the story will work whatever setting you put it in. I've often said one of my all-time favourite films, The Godfather. You know, it's not just a gangster film. I would say something like Goodfellas is a gangster film. The Godfather, the mafia is just the setting, and what makes The Godfather so great is that you could set it in ancient Rome, you could set it, in any period of history, in any setting, and the story about heritage will work regardless. Another little side project I've got going as well is I got bought this a couple of Christmases ago, and I've been chipping away at it. Normally, I try and do it as often as I can, but it normally ends up realistically being once a month. So I'm working my way through the complete works of Shakespeare, and this is where I am right now. 12th Night is the next one I've got. So, but Macbeth is one of my favourites, and it's funny with Shakespeare because we all say that's my favourite Shakespeare play. One or two things. Whenever you talk about William Shakespeare, people often say one or two things. They'll say Romeo and Juliet, say, is my favourite. And you go, what other ones do you like? And they'll go, oh, well. And then you'll get to Romeo and Juliet's the only one they studied. And then it goes the other way. Oh, I can't stand William Shakespeare. He's boring. I don't mind Romeo and Juliet, though, or whatever play it is. I don't mind that one, though. Why is that? Oh, and then, again, it's the one I studied. So people either think they like him or don't think they like him, but they normally like one play, and when you cut to it, yeah, that's the one they learn at school. And that's the one. That's my one, Macbeth. We all saw Romeo and Juliet when it came out because you had the Leonardo DiCaprio one, so Romeo and Juliet's kind of a given. We did study The Tempest when I was at school, and I couldn't make head or tail of it. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that and reassessing it. I think that was one of his later ones. But I really liked Macbeth, for obvious reasons. It had horror elements, and yeah, it was one I was most familiar with, and it was great seeing it in the samurai setting, with the black and white as well. It was very eerie. It was cool seeing the demons or evil spirits. I'm quite heavily tattooed, and all the art I have is Japanese art, and the artist I've only ever been tattooed by one artist, Aaron Hewitt from Cult Classic Tattoo, and he's been studying the Japanese art form his whole career, and he's been out to Japan and got the seal of approval from Hiroshi III. So I'm familiar with the artwork, and the artwork normally that portrays demons and ghosts and so on, and they always come with a fable as well. So applying that to the Shakespeare play was brilliant. And the star of the show, again, I'm no expert in this area of film, so I'm learning as I'm going, and I'm learning in front of you. So when I was talking about Seven Samurai, I was talking about the character that I really liked, the one who was a bit of a tearaway, a bit of a hothead. He was probably one of the more deeper, complex characters, and he was played by Toshiro Mifune. I think I pronounced that right. And yeah, just out of curiosity, I looked up, and is there any stars from Seven Samurai that are in Throne of Blood? And yeah, Toshiro Mifune is starring in both films so far. I've now seen that he's going to be in at least 2 more films. So he's in Yojimbo and another one I can't remember. So he's in at least 2 more of the Akira Kurosawa films. But the film I mentioned that I'm going to be watching next the Musashi trilogy, he's also the star of these. Didn't realise. And the first film of this trilogy is actually released the same year as Seven Samurai. So this guy was pretty famous. He's I think he was born in China to Japanese parents, I believe. But he did do a bit of crossover. He was in Red Sun, I believe, or Red Dawn with Charles Bronson. But he was also in the Shogun series I mentioned yesterday as well. The Shogun that was in 1980, which was the original version of the Disney show that's doing the rounds at the moment. Yeah, he's been in quite a bit by the looks of it. So he's had quite a career, and yeah, he looks just awesome as well. He's just got that presence. So yeah, I'm learning more about these directors, more about these actors as I'm going along, and learning more about the samurai lore really, and yeah, looking forward to getting on with this. But yeah, this Thrones of Blood last night, again, it's not really a samurai per se, although it is set in a samurai setting. It's basically Macbeth retold, and it is pretty faithful as well. I like the title as well, The Throne of Blood, because Macbeth's throne is built on blood, so obviously that's the translation of the title. And yeah, so I suppose if you're not familiar with the story of Macbeth, Macbeth is a warrior. He's the highest ranking warrior, one of the king's most trusted servants. He's won wars. But he has a little bit of resentment, or maybe a resentment that he isn't aware of. But he comes across 3 witches on his way home from a battle, and they predict that he will become king, and so on and so forth. And it's things that he wouldn't have thought of, but now it's been laid out in front of him. It's how would that come about? And he kills the king, frames someone else for the murder, and becomes king himself. And in order to bury one body, he has to kill another body, and then has to bury another body. This is figuratively speaking. And then, bit by bit, it builds up to it becomes his own undoing. And when he comes across the witches again, it says, you will win every battle until the forests move towards the castle. So he thinks, well, how can a forest move? And again, he's on his throne, and he's going from one car crash to another, and he gets reports that the forest is moving. The forest is getting nearer. How can this be? And of course, the invading army have camouflaged themselves to look like trees as they move closer and closer, and he gets invaded and gets his comeuppance. He's seduced as well by his wife, Lady Macbeth. She's obviously she's in his ear the whole time, and there's a great dialogue between the two characters in this film as well. It's funny because she's almost kind of witch-like herself. The way she speaks, the way her voice carries across, and the way she just constantly just builds on his doubt, his resentments, his Izuzu Yamanda, I think that is the actress. Brilliant again. And yeah, the Lady Macbeth it's a saying now, if someone's, if a certain lady's feeding her man a load of stuff to get him, handing him a loaded gun, so to speak, she's a Lady Macbeth, and Lady Macbeth gets a lot of the blame for what goes on in the story, but I think Macbeth's his own man. No, he's the one that carried out the deed, or the deeds. He has free will, so it's not just her that's to blame. But there's lots of different layers to the story. You can analyse it all day. But yeah, it was. I really enjoyed this, and like I say, this is regarded as one of the best Shakespeare films in of itself. So yeah, that's Throne of Blood, and we'll carry on tomorrow. I don't quite remember. I should have grabbed that box set, really, shouldn't I? But I'll be back tomorrow with another samurai film review. And yeah, as always, what do you think of this? And do you think, well, what's some of your favourite Shakespeare films as well? But do you think, is there other good films of this kind that are more ghost stories as well? That'd be something I'm interested to hear. But as usual as well, as I said yesterday, if there's samurai films that you recommend I add to this series, I'm happy to keep it going for as long as you are enjoying it. So let me know in the comments. And yeah, that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow.